Just to present a little bit the context, maybe if you are not aware, it's a station which is partially out of use. In Moldova, we used to have a network of railways which functioned some time ago, and the passenger line, for example, stopped functioning. So this railway is just a space, and together with the colleagues from Coalition of Independent Cultural Sector, Oberlicht Association, we thought to activate it, and of course local host, which is Moldov's association, we decided to activate the space as part of Alternative Cultural Spaces program, which starts actually today. It's a 2-week-long program. Some of you might be able to catch some of the events, but this is one of the events which was planned in the frame of this program. And again, in a dysfunctional train station, we would like to speak about mobility as a topic. So it's also kind of adding another layer to the situation which we face since the dissolution of Soviet Union, basically. It's quite a long time, 30 years or even more. When all the connections which were somehow intermediated, I believe, through Moscow, were kind of gradually losing force, and most of us started to meet each other in Berlin, in Paris, in maybe Prague. At least that's where I built my own network. And I didn't meet you in Chisinau or in Baku, for example, unfortunately, but we somehow we are a generation of cultural workers which built our network in the Western Europe, I would say. But the situation is changing, and I think this is a good, I mean, today we would like to talk exactly about this, if it's changing and how quickly and in which direction does it change. And what kind of mobility opportunities do we have today, and how can we make use of them so that we can develop our work. So I will introduce myself, and then I will ask the participants in the panel to introduce each other. My name is Vladimir Us. I work as curator in Oberlicht Association, one of the co-organizers of Alternative Cultural Spaces program. And I also participate in the coordination of activities in the frame of the Coalition of Independent Cultural Sector, an umbrella organization which was created 2 years ago and which reunites today 18 initiatives and organizations, independent cultural organizations from Moldova. So we cover different regions in Moldova, and Moldox is member of the coalition, but we also have members in Transnistrian region, so we try to be present as wide as possible through our work. It's only second year. The need for the work for the coalition was there before already, but I think it's quite interesting case. If we look on the region, what happens in the region, we don't see so many coalitions in Georgia or Armenia or Azerbaijan, but maybe we can talk also later about this situation, how independent cultural workers connect and unite in some structures. So I would like to present today our participants. Anna Barjadze from Georgia, Imam Hasanov from Azerbaijan, Mariam Ohanyan from Armenia, and Lorelei Grigoritsa from Moldova. And I would like to ask you to introduce yourself shortly for the people who are new and who don't know you.
Yeah. Hello everybody, I'm Anna Barjadze. I'm a filmmaker and I'm a part of a collective, female collective radio and film, which is a production company in Georgia, and also I'm a part of Art House, Gori, which is creative clusters hub in my hometown, yeah, I think I'm trying to spread my energy in different topics because unfortunately only filmmaking in our countries is very hard to be, and I will continue talking about it later. Thank you.
I'm Mariam Ohanyan. I'm from Armenia. I'm a founder director of International Women's Film Festival KIM, and this year it will be 12th anniversary of our festival. And we are working as a platform for women filmmakers from Armenia and from the world. And I'm a filmmaker too. So.
Hello everyone, I'm Lorelei. I'm from Moldova. I'm working for Moldova's Association. Basically, I'm involved in organizing the festival right now, and also we have other projects in cultural field. We have another festival that's happening in Chisinau, which is called Queer Voices. It's a film festival, and we have a safe space with a bunch of different cultural events that's open like fully, and we are like sharing the same building with Vladimir and Maxim Polikov that we had a few days ago in our like training at CMA.
Hello, my name is Imam Sanov. I'm from Azerbaijan, based in Baku. I'm the co-founder and director of Dokubaku International Documentary Film Festival in Azerbaijan. It's already the 7th edition will happen in September, 26th of September, 1st of October. And I was doing also online film school for the beginners in Azerbaijan with Doklad High School. It was in 2020, and then we had this war and pandemic situation, blah blah. Like we had 2 courses after that, like this, like, and also he's doing a lot of master classes in the workshops, actually organizing, and also like was doing some theatrical stuff also in my life. Like I was an actor also in the theater, and I was having some very great, for example, some great plays in the theater actually. So I started with the theater, now I'm doing documentaries also as a filmmaker, and I'm happy and continue to make documentaries because this is just one way for me to understand myself, and being here is like amazing, and thank you very much. So very short.
Thanks. I would go straight to the point and would like to ask you to answer why you think mobility is important, especially for our region. And maybe you can bring an example of a platform or of a project which brings people together and put them in a situation to work together or do something together.
Can I start? Yeah. I think in our region it's really nowadays a bit harder to find a lot of mobility opportunities, but somehow still we have several examples. For example, Chaikhana is one of the good kind of example. In Caucasus region, they try to kind of make union from like new initiatives and filmmakers and photographers and artists. Also, I can make several examples around about B2B, which is also kind of Baltic to Black Sea, but also Caucasus region are involved. And I think I can continue a lot of examples. But I will tell about necessity of this because in our region all of our countries has a conflict, and especially between each other. That's like a third country or fourth country can give us possibility to make a dialogue about it, and also together we have a power, but alone we can't develop anything, because also for some kind of European grants or kind of projects, it's very powerful to have a strong kind of colleagues from different countries, and that gives us kind of opportunity for independent filmmakers to stay independent and not make kind of orders what, for example, the states are giving us. So I think it's very important at first to stay independent and develop kind of cultural part.
And when you mention conflicts, it's about wars or about other conflicts as well?
Yeah, I mentioned especially about conflict regions in our country. I think for a country has a conflict region in our countries, and that's already challenge, and that's already something to work, and you can't work by yourself. You need somebody to have between each other as a moderator also, and not only to realize our fault also. I can speak endlessly. You can we can make a discussion.
Okay, I can say that this mobility, yes. Cultural mobility is very important, and it's important for artists and for people because it helps to know each other better and to pick more your borders of your meaning and so on. And of course, it's very important for our countries because, for example, we have no conflict with Georgia, but we have no sometimes so much connections. But for example, our festival did such projects during which we invited. Sometimes it depends from support. So, and we invited people from Ukraine, from Belarus to our programs. For a few years, we did Armenian Turkey program when we invited Turkish women filmmakers, and they came to Armenia. At the time, they were very afraid and they don't know what will be. But after that, they were very happy because there was meeting with audience and they show their film, and it was a very warm atmosphere. And everybody in the streets say, "Are you Armenian? Are you Armenian?" So it's a very funny situation. So, of course, we do many things to create this bridge of relations, of cultural integrity, of some discussions, because it's very important, and it's maybe the most biggest problem to have peace in our region, because without peace we cannot do anything. So, of course, it's a very important thing, and we try to do the best to create some bridges and to have contacts with each other.
Well, I think mostly mobility helps all of us grow and spread our network and connect with each other and inspire each other. And Moldox basically brings a lot of people from the industry in a region where not so many cultural events happens. So, as I know, at the moment, Moldox Festival is the only documentary film festival, international film festival that's happening in Moldova. So we are also connecting people from an industry that can show up social problems with a region that usually it's not so like visited. So in the same time, all the festivals that happen here, like this is the 8th edition, like brings so many changes in Cahul. I think that's the most important thing for us. What can I add?
Yeah, so you are actually both active, not only you do kind of mobility on international level, but also on the national level.
Yes.
You bring more resources to Cahul, and
Also,
one of the ideas to change situation in Cahul as a city.
yes, it's about Cahul and it's about the industry, about film industry, and like all the people that are coming for the festival are not only from Chisinau, of course. It's also like people from other countries that show up their stories. We have like so many documentaries that just bring attention to a lot of important topic and educate people from here.
Yes, as my colleagues they mentioned that there is some problems, some conflicts between our nations and between all humanity. So there are a lot of some conflicts happening all the time. But yes, I like Tokubaku is one of the platforms where I can bring a lot of people and screen their movies, like Armenian, Georgian we screen, and there is no problem. But for us, it's problem to invite Armenian filmmakers to Azerbaijan. Like for me, being as an international film festival is just minus as a thing, because if we want to have some bridge or just have some connections, we have to find a way somehow to, I don't know, we have to talk to politics or to someone that, okay, we have to find a way to solve this problem. Otherwise, it doesn't work, because human being is like just a human being, because human being even doesn't understand that he's a human. I mean, like everyone, like for example, my colleagues, there were two like meetings with Minister of Culture, our Minister of Culture. Like I saw the people how they react and how they imagine about the future. I understood that there is no light. Like, 2 times it happened. I saw whole industry how my community actually think. And then I said, okay, I cannot talk to anybody there because it's hard to explain that. For example, we watched yesterday this manifesto. This film shocked me. Like I would like to screen this film in Baku, but I cannot because it's really crazy. And how I understand being a child and being in this kind of situations doesn't matter how long. Like there were videos from 2014, 15, and until now. And this is our, like it's sad to say about it. This is our future, how we see as a documentary filmmakers. We have to see, someone has to see and tell to others that, come on. Like I'm doing this documentary film festival and I'm in love with this because I really do it for my heart, and I do my films also for my heart, and I believe there is some energy in these things what I do, and I would like to see other who lives in my country. I have responsibility for my country, like for my culture, as I can say that. Okay, everyone in my country should understand that this kind of corruption and conflicts will just bring down all us. Like I don't know, like it's crazy to understand, but it's like that, and that's why there is this AI and stuff like happening, like they're like picking out from a lot of people lose their jobs, you know, like because it's shitty. I mean, like being a human, we have to grow very, we have to think different. That's why I'm trying to bring through via Baku to Baku, actually, like giving some ideas there how to think and where to go, actually, because as what I see in my country is like people in, I don't know, it's crazy to see people living with limits, like very limited things, like they don't even understand that life is like TikTok, and they are just sleeping. This is that we are right now like in some big black hole, going through this, and we have to like make this renaissance happen. Otherwise, for your countries, for our, doesn't matter which country, it's being one is just being one, like oneness, like being true to yourself, to your job. I mean, me as an example for it, I have to change first myself, like, to understand that who I am. Then I can change other stuff as well. I mean, this is for each of us as a responsibility. We have to understand this. Like just showing films and giving directions to the people who doesn't even understand what's documentary is also bad. Like today, this Ro was talking a lot, like very nice, from Kosovo, Film Festival. Yes, it was very powerful, and before it was also very nice talks around conflicts in Russia, here, between our countries, regions. Like, it's amazing to be and hear and discuss this kind of things. Because one platform like Chaykhana cannot help, because it's also limited. Also, if I sell my soul to the government and saying, okay, we can work together actually, but you know, then it will be how they want actually to see the world again. It will be the same for me working in Azerbaijan. That's why I don't know. I want to leave, maybe I want to stay, or what's next? Like for me, it's like big question that I see that on the picture. There is also a question asking me, like, what's next? Okay, how we're going to deal, actually. So maybe if after that renaissance, like when people really woke up at the station and take this, like there is a movie, Zemeckis Express, some animation movie that the children goes around. This is a a fairy tale, and they understand that the magic can happen to us. We can have this quantum jump somehow, like, and save the whole world and be different to each other. Open our eyes and see, okay, where we go. I'm asking you, like, because I asked you.
Let's maybe go back to some of the topics.
Yes.
But like in more concrete terms, I would suggest, for example, one question which emerged in the. I'm already a supporter. Too. So one, like several things emerged in my mind while you were introducing your contexts and platforms. So first, that there are platforms. If we compare the situation to 10 years or 20 years ago, where there was no platforms for us to travel to each other, and that is really one of the important elements of the game, to have infrastructure that allows us to travel to each other and share content and share topics. And one of the topics which was mentioned is this need to build bridges. And it takes me back to 2004, when we in Oberlicht Association also initiated a project, an exhibition. So I'm dealing mainly with visual arts, not so much film, but we were supporting at that time emerging artists to exhibit their work, and one idea was to travel to Transnistrian region and to meet the artists there and to understand who are these people, what they are doing, and this was beyond any kind of financial or this donor-driven logic. It was just a wish. We just graduated as students. We wanted to go there and to basically meet other students whom we never met before. And that was kind of effort we did. And I would resume it. It was why it was important at that time was, first of all, because of course national governments wouldn't encourage any kind of communication between the sides. So it was very important to actually to meet real people and not to learn about the region or about situations through news or through other sources, but actually learn from each other. And when you meet each other, you understand that there is no conflict. I mean, we have actually problems, and they are common problems. And there is actually rather an opportunity to work together on something. So that's one thing. And another thing, when you mentioned the Ministry of Culture and that they are not answering anyhow to, I think we have still national cultural policies based on the idea of a nation. So it's national cultural policy in the sense of a policy based on nationality as a principle, and not policy based on, for example, mobility, which could be not replacing, but kind of making it more varied as a policy. So if we could imagine a cultural policy which is based on a mobility principle, it would go beyond these national colors and would actually encourage other type of collaborations, especially in today when we have not only artists and professionals who travel to each other, but we have a lot of refugees, we have a lot of people, displaced people who have to move, and if our policies in our countries don't adapt to this new situation, we will not be able to integrate these people and benefit in the good sense, in the sense of integrating them in the cultural life and learning from each other about differences and commonalities. But I would like to go back to topics, because Anna, you started to mention a topic which is to your interest. Maybe each of us, you could elaborate more on a topic, specific topic which you are, like women filmmakers, why it's important, or maybe you could dig more, and then also you could say why, what kind, like mobility with whom or from whom or which regions actually would make sense to you more today?
Yeah, I think Mariam will more underline about women's, despite of it that I'm also part of women collective, like a female collective. At first I will underline about this mobility part, and I really want to mention, underline this part that documentary filmmakers are very, very important, but it's very, very important to be to have professionals around cultural management, people who organize screenings, people who are not themselves shooting anything, but they kind of promote it. And I think main kind of idea in our countries, what is I think challenge. I'm not doing like other jobs because that I can't be like all the time on filmmaking. I'm doing it because I think it's necessary, and I don't have any kind of options. But somehow many things, like to my colleagues, I want to say thank you to all of them, because they are doing very good job, especially when they are organizing some screenings, they are making some kind of speaking, public speaking, and etc. But main idea is to start something like as an initiative, as a kind of enthusiasm, because without it, support is very important, but without any kind of idea, you can't get any financing because you don't have an idea. So our main part is to find some kind of information. Main things that we have to communicate. Yeah, we have to share our information, because I think despite of it that we are not in a very good circumstances, we have a better opportunities than my sister had like 10, 12 years ago. And now I think it's, for example, I can talk about DOGA, which is also like a documentary film association in Georgia, but it's not necessary to be Georgian to be part of it. If you have some kind of connection, or you want to make film there, or you want to make some kind of collaboration, even foreigners and everybody could be part of it. So this kind of association gives us kind of opportunity to mobility, and also every kind of initiative which is created between us. What you underlined about national part is that in our politicians, and their work is to be national things to do, I think. But if civil society will be more kind of, and especially cultural part will be more powerful, and I think we can't be powerful alone, because you need experience from different kind of countries. And the reason why we speak in English is that we need their experience who has already done something, and they have to listen us to and give us a kind of feedback, what can be done together. So I'm speaking about some of different topics, but I want to cover a lot of things.
Maybe you could still mention the topics which you think are important for you or your colleagues in Georgia today.
Yeah, in Georgia, yeah, we are very challenging situation, but still we trying to don't stop, because even for example Cinedoc Tbilisi, which is a kind of which was the first international film festival in Caucasus region, they have a challenge. It's a kind of shame, because they did a big job. I mean, being a filmmaker as a myself, it's like a Cinedoc made me very kind of motivate to continue filmmaking, even because I had the opportunity to watch these films, which was kind of honest, I could not find anything before anywhere. So main thing is that even different kind of regional film kind of initiatives and festivals could ask how can we support, how can we make some collaboration, and that give us opportunity to be more powerful, because if you don't have any a good relationship with neighbor, you can't be only you in an island. So it's most important that also Georgian kind of initiatives become more international, especially in a regional level. So there are kind of untitled gallery where there are some part of Armenian and Azerbaijan participants, and they make some cultural exchanging. It's 1, 2, 3 person is not enough, but it start somehow. And if main thing is that to make this kind of residencies between different countries, also give an opportunity to have a kind of special cultural exchanges, and what Imam said and underlined that maybe they don't have any, and you said also about conflict, that maybe they don't have it, even conflict, but somehow from far away you can't hear anything. So that's more interesting.
Can I add something to what you're saying? I totally agree with you. And one thing about cultural mobility, besides our own country, inside the country, I truly believe that we should have a lot of initiatives of cultural mobility in between our countries, because it's a huge geographical region which we all interdepend, and there are few democracies always looking towards the West, and we were expecting something from the West to give us money. They bring the best examples, to like invite experts from there, filmmakers and everything, which it is part of it, but because we are maybe in vulnerable situations, alone standing, we sometimes do not encourage enough collaboration, or we do not focus as a first priority. As yes, we can have resources from there, encourage some more resources from here, but focus on between ourselves, because we're like in a, I don't know, in a chess game or in a domino, like we're falling one by one, and I think we need to empower and to have stronger ties, because we also understand each other's cultures very quickly, because we know the context and we just see little differences. And at least small dogs. Thank you, Natalia, very much for this. I mean, not Natalia, only everyone, whatever. The thank you goes to the universe for doing this initiative here, because this is a good start for doing this again. Not the same workshop, but maybe we do something together with some other people, and so on and so on. It's very, very important. Also in the queer part of what we're discussed, also a few things. It's very important to keep on going and to look for opportunities.
I would add to what just Maxim said, that probably the stronger region we build around ourselves, I mean, the better will be for us, but also the better we will look for someone from outside the region. Not just as individual initiatives, not just as countries, but as a region. And that is probably one of the aims which we could kind of look towards, to build enough connections and relations between the countries and platforms, and to interconnect it in a way in which it will suddenly start working as a network, enough attractive for kind of bigger projects from somewhere else. And that's kind of what we also talk about when we build our networks.
We have a common past that we all share, because we used to be one huge country.
And actually the language was mentioned, like 20 years ago, Russian, or 10 years ago, Russian was a language which also was used to speak to each other. And here I wouldn't actually make abstraction of it as well, because we need all the tools to build connections, and doesn't matter which language we would use, but of course English gives more kind of opportunities, and we have colleagues from Switzerland or from Germany, I believe, which also gives another layer.
It's always nice to know a lot of languages, actually. It gives you always opportunity to understand better your
because when discussing this panel, which language should we do it, Russian was one of the languages we thought about, could be, but again, the specificity of situation now in context, of course, kind of discourages this, but it shouldn't discourage the idea itself of being able to talk to each other. Shall we go back to the topics, because I think we have more speakers. Maybe you would like to mention some specific topics which would be important actually for our region and would bring more people or interest around.
I can say that, of course, in Europe, this cultural mobility and many cultural things are more developed as in our countries. And for example, the cinema industry, we have many problems which came from. So it was another model during Soviet time, and today we try to enter to another model, but didn't enter. And here we have many problems. We have problems with fundings, and of course we have problems with traveling, because if in European Union there are some funds for which you can apply for travel, we have no such opportunities in our country, so it's impossible to find, so we have no, and it's a problem again, maybe if you want to travel to Europe, you can find some fund. For example, Goethe Institute, they have travel grant, they support for travel. maybe some organization they invited, but in Armenia we have no such organizations, and it's of course it's a problem for us, because if I would like to participate or go to Georgia to attend a festival, so I have to do it for my own. I cannot find any funds. And of course, but it's a question.
It's still cheaper to go to Georgia than to meet in Berlin each other.
Then
right?
I have one question. Do you have a national cinema centers? Because
Yes.
in Moldova there is one, and I think they have also grants for travel to go to festival and things.
Not them. They used to do it a little bit, but it was very difficult to get some money from them. And the USA now, they created this new project, Bridge. It's I don't remember the name of it. It's unknown because she has to deal with that. Anyways, it's under USA in a way, in Media Corps and that.
So it's a private stuff, it's not a state program.
No, it's an NGO. Well, it's international support. It's international support. And you can apply as a filmmaker, and they sponsor your going there and stay there, I think.
It's mediated by the National Film Center, but
It's up to $1,500, I think, to travel at different networking opportunities.
Yeah.
And they cover all of it.
And this is also after lobbying or advocating this idea that filmmakers approached many times the National Film Center, who was like, I don't have that many grants to offer, and I'm sorry for all of these people who cannot go. And then USA was like, can we help with something? And they got this. And now it exists. It helps a lot. We have a lot of our alumni who got awards. They couldn't go, although everything was covered there, they couldn't go because they had no money for the trip. And now this is covered, and that helps. Last year, like, maybe over 20 people. Like, we tried to send somebody somewhere in May, and they said, we don't have any more money for May.
And I wanted to add that, for example, we have the biggest film festival, Golden Apricot in Yerevan, and they have many industry programs. It's one of them is called GAIF Pro, and it's a regional industry program, so they can apply filmmakers from Georgia, Iran, Turkey, or they can from Azerbaijan. They can apply too.
Maybe.
Yes. So, and they have another. They have another project. We have Eurasia Doc. It's a French program, which it's going during the Golden Apricot, and during many years they had Armenia-Turkey cinema platform. So they try to do many things, but of course it's not enough because we have a problem with fundings, and for example, we have cinema center which give funds for short films and feature length fiction films, and we have no funds for documentary films. So sometimes documentary have to be called documentary fiction. And now we hope that, and it was one studio, Hike Studio, documentary film studio, which closed, and maybe it will be entered to the cinema center, and finally they will have grants, not grants, money for documentary films. So we have very small market, very small community, and very small amount of money.
But beyond the money and beyond the economic part, what would actually bring two filmmakers to do a film together in your case, or in your case, or in your case, or three?
Three and
what-
four also
what
have been attending
interest would,
co-production part.
but about what? Because this is what I try to come to when I
Together.
ask this question of topics. What are actually the topics which really unite us or bring us together?
I mean, everything could be
But
reunited.
everything you cannot prioritize, so you need to prioritize something
Right,
today and
depends on
something
your
tomorrow.
angle, because like we live in the same society somehow, we are dealing with the same problems every day, and that's what we kind of try to do, like not to wait until something genius comes to your mind or something horrible happens in your society, but just to concentrate on how we live, because we lack that information. Like Armenia and Azerbaijan, they lack that information from each other. And that's what we, for example, at SCA2023 Media try to do. Like to bring these little stories into somewhere, into one platform where you have the possibility to see. Because if I don't see how those people live, about whom I have no idea, except the news and except like propaganda things, like I won't be able to understand what else, like what big I can make with them. So that was my point, that we can do about everything, but we just really lack the ideas and we lack the communication between each other. Because the only common space is Tbilisi, like Georgia, and which is also struggling right now, and it's also like not an easy way right now to be there, because now it's not a safe space anymore somehow, like even for Georgians. So how they can somehow create that safe space for Armenians and Azerbaijanis like they did before.
Yeah,
And yeah.
I mean, it was a very good platform also, like the city where actually Armenia and Azerbaijan always was gathering together, like making some, I had a pitch in there for the first time, like I met this Robert Bosch Stiftung in Tbilisi, and so I know it was very good opportunity, but as they mentioned, it's very hard right now. I mean, in Azerbaijan, yesterday I saw this movie Between Revolutions, so I was thinking, can I screen this movie in Azerbaijan? Because there is a mood like you don't understand actually what's happening. I mean, there's no money, of course, for the festivals or for the films also as well. But these are, you know, they're just waiting for, I don't know what, like something happened and maybe, because this is, as I'm sorry that I'm saying it again, like this is a transition of the big century, like maybe capitalism is finishing or starting something new. Maybe you don't know, but we have to be ready for everything and keep moving anyway. And once we have to find a place like that, like we came this year, here it's already very nice opportunity for us to talk to each other, and also screen movies maybe start from here, because we were here like very free and okay, everything nice, like films are just great. We don't fight to each other, but let's make something together, like, and put together our power and make some changes.
To make the locations based on like what we need, and because they're always like kind of pressed not to express what we think, what is right to us, what is like human, but because you're always forced to somehow think in a way which is good for your state, but still nobody could explain me what is good for my state, because it never happened with something like they came up with a solution that was good for us or for Azerbaijanis, like separately or together. It never worked out. And but we are in the process of changes all the time, and we also don't understand what is the best way to somehow like find a way out of the situation.
It's just about cleaning your subconscious, like somehow. It must happen like that, so we don't just remember this conflict between this.
Even if we don't, I mean, even if we don't, and
We
this
have
is not
to.
in
We
the
don't have
center of
any-
our things, but it's like you kind of float from like every possible place to think the way you want and to believe in like a peaceful future, which is kind of shameful in our society. And that's very bad.
And the war itself takes so much space. Like even all of us will agree that we share so many things together, but everything is shaded because the war is the main thing, and people just concentrate on that. And the state propagandas work that way that people don't even try to find other common patterns together, you know?
I I mean, if we are not going to change something, like war will never stop. Actually, you know, there will be always war. Like people will kill each other and all. I mean, the people like us. I don't know how, but we have to try something. Like this is the the topics which we are making. I mean, the future is for a woman. Like this is a материнство, materia, which is like it's like even it can be matrix or it can be mama, like mother. You know, there is just two ways to be able to move on. This is the future. They have to agree with us also somehow, and we have to get friends and brothers and sisters and make a lot of good movies to change this direction of whole world. Actually, it's not just. I'm just maybe talking very crazy things saying, but it's just our subconscious of the world.
I have a question to you actually.
Yes.
How are we going to change the things if we can't even screen each other's movies in our countries?
We should start trying to do that.
Like, we are planning to do that, and maybe that was our goal as well.
Yeah, for example, I would like to screen 2 movies which I saw already, right? But once I was screening erotic documentary film, which was about vagina and so on. There was a lot of vaginas photos, and I was screening like I mean that different vaginas. It was short documentary actually. It was very beautiful to watch it, like to understand what's happening with the woman actually. Why this is also a documentary which we never watch or we never give an attention. So it was happening in the some governmental. We were screening it in a governmental place, let's say, cinema. They called me, you cannot screen this movie because it's about plus 18. So I said, okay, if you want to change something, it's no problem for me not to screen these movies. It's okay. They are already here. I saw it already. I understand. It was for them, like changes are happening little by little. It takes our lives, like generations, and this is the somehow a survival of living and finding the right way, which is the right one for anybody.
What are the main obstacles for you actually for not being able to screen, like the government and the law or the society?
Money. For example, I would like to bring more people to Azerbaijan. I would like to organize workshop, like bring Moldovan people, also I don't know, Armenian people, Georgian, Doka, and so on. Like make a real good festival for Azerbaijan. You know, like I mean, there is no support. Like if European some I don't know grants or donors giving you money, they don't ask you to do especially what they want actually, but they also give money somehow like. For example, last year I spent 20,000 euros, my own money to my festival, just because I wanted to make it run, be alive, because otherwise, just government doesn't give a shit. They want you to die just because you can think, but they don't. I mean, like it's because they say that. There is no vision for us.
So I was interested about the Armenian movies. For me, it's really interesting. What will be the main problem for you?
It will be just
besides money.
Yeah, it's problem because you know people, just common people, they will come and just stop me, beat me.
The government? Will
They are everywhere, like, you know, anybody can be a government, actually. When I'm screening something regarding Armenia or Armenian film, anybody can be an enemy of me, you know, like, there is no, like, you are a documentary film festival, and you can screen it, blah, blah. There is no this kind of chance for me, either for others, because this is also a culture, you know, that I have to explain them somehow.
It seems we are going a little bit in rounds, but one point I think you mentioned actually, state propaganda, is maybe also something that we need to reference to when we do create our own platforms, that we want them not to be reproducing state propaganda, but rather having
Stay
this
free and
platform for independent, basically, platforms, what was mentioned before, to actually counteract propaganda. Doesn't matter which one, because you have also a very strong commercial sector which also commercializes culture, and the role of culture as education factor is diminishing
they make a very
more
short
and more.
movies, like commercial movies, and people just, you know, just follow them. And that's it. That's what government wants, like the whole world wants from you, like being.
I mean, we probably somehow mutually agree that the state culture which we have today, I mean, culture in terms of institutions and programs couldn't prevent the wars and actually perpetuates the wars. So this is what we also think about in our circles of the independent cultural sector in Moldova. What kind of cultural model do we need today to actually to anticipate the war, not even to fight consequences, but actually to anticipate that it ever happens. But I would like to ask Lorelei, because we did skip Moldova in this question, if you have specific topics you focus on or you think would be relevant also for colleagues from Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan.
Like a specific common topic, I guess, is the that we are having that Soviet past, and we are still now, each of us, like in the danger of Russian aggression. So
may I add something? You were talking about making.
Managerial.
Yeah, so we are talking about making good films with good festivals. But I think once you do very few events and you are able to do very few productions, so it's also difficult to have only good productions. So I think it's more important also to do many mistakes and do bad films. And also have some failed festivals, in a way, in order to learn from others and from each other. So I think we have also this pressure that was imposed through this colonialist mentality, so you need to be much better, you know, than to be acceptable. And so we have this also internal censorship that blocks many creative ideas, because you think, speaking about associating or cooperating, you have this automatic thought a lot of the time, oh, but they are like doing much cooler things, or they are like, I don't know, pretend to be cooler. So I think that we need also to embrace mediocrity in a way, a little bit, in order to be able to also like come to such a space, yeah. So because usually, you know, this is no cultural space, or I don't know. So I think that this type of like reinventing things and working like what you have, and because it's a very subjective aspect, like quality, and someone resonates with certain things. For example, you were impressed by the between revolutions. For me, I was a bit disappointed. I must say, I expected something else. So, and yeah, I think it's if I would choose, and by my standards, but it's great that we have different standards. You know,
yeah, but there's just three positions, like American, Romanian, and another Iran, right? It's
you speak about that field,
that
between revolutions.
yes.
Yeah, let's go back from the. It's a docu-fiction.
Yeah, I know.
This
is also a vision.
But we are here like in
to the mediocrity. And I think it's very important, at least, like for example, why we have a festival here. It's obvious, we all know. We don't want to go with a centralized, generally way of everything happens there. So I'm not sure that our state, for example, they kind of like try to invest and to understand that yes, it's very important to move outside the center, but there is no visible strategy or support for that, and they're not aware on central level how difficult it is to organize anything outside the capital, and also on local level they are resistant to new people and to new ideas. So I think we have, besides we being very powerful and being connected, which this gives hope that at least we are well connected, and I think it's very important that we make them, sorry for othering, but like the local community, to make them aware how important that is. And sometimes before we come with a project, at least this is my lesson, what concerns Moldovans, for example, if I could choose, then I would offer 1 year of trainings and of talks and negotiations and I don't know what, and that would be part of the project in a way, to make really understand all the cultural actors and all the decision makers how important it is, and to even hear them considering not important or whatever demons they have, to get them out and to really like talk and to confront ideas. I think this is sometimes like can create conflict after you've grown so much and then you realize that they haven't gotten a little thing out of it or very little. And then they become adversary forces because you bring new stuff and then they kind of like resist. Yeah,
I wanted to say that like I feel like in Moldova predominantly there's a lot of like the traditional one-off events just to check a box.
Yeah.
But these events that have a continuity, they have to be constant. They bring changes to the areas they're in. So probably the local authorities, they do not like that. Like change is, a bit dangerous, too fast, this like keeping you at a distance.
Yeah.
So
and also,
and
and they're not totally agree, and they're also not ready for dialogue because everything is so politicized, and they do not regard well. They are not well politically educated, or in order to have opposition, not opposition, but opposing ideas, to be open to critique and to use this in their favor, because this just shows that they are democratic, that they are open to critique. You don't have to be perfect, but everything that is not going to give them votes, they see as no interest. We don't want them, or they don't do what is going to be in our benefit. So it's I don't know, it's very deep. I think at least this is our experience.
Maxim, could you keep some of these thoughts for the second part of the roundtable, because we will actually speak about mobility on national level, and also we can focus more on what Cahul has as a challenge, and this is something we could develop even more, I think, in the frame. But I would go back to what Natalia, you said about kind of average. I think it's an interesting idea from the strategically speaking. If we don't have too high expectations to each other in the region, in the sense that we can actually connect easier on sharing films, doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be shown in Berlinale or where else before. Like maybe it's local films, but it's still kind of valuable either from topic-wise or kind of putting some new actors on the stage and so on. So that is something that maybe we should also think of in between our within the region, to have a kind of standards which allow us to meet more often and more efficiently, let's say, and exchange things, not to expect too big things from each other. We have to go towards the end of the discussion, but I have still one question, unless someone else who didn't speak want to add or ask. But basically, it could be also a question for the rest of the people to join. What would create more opportunities in the region to travel to each other and to meet each other? What do you think is lacking? I mean, what else is, except money again, because money is always an argument, but if we start thinking beyond it, I mean, we did this bicycle trip 2 years ago, which took us 2 weeks, but we went like half Moldova, half Transnistria, and we kind of saw 3 cities or several villages, and we could do it with very little money. You don't need sometimes money as a kind of, you can be inventive in traveling to each other.
Right.
Or sending content to each other. It also doesn't require always a lot of money, but what else beyond this is needed to make this sharing?
Yes.
Ideas.
Initiatives.
I can say that very good ideas, educational programs, trainings, workshops. For example, thanks to such a program, I traveled to Georgia and met there many Georgian and Azerbaijan colleagues. So I think it's a very good opportunity because you have possibility to develop, for example, your project, to learn something more, to see a new country, and to have this informal communication. It's a good thing, and of course, I think we all, maybe yes, maybe not, but we need good education. Because many things were lost, many things maybe didn't found, and we need of course communicate with professionals, with good professionals, maybe from each other countries, maybe from abroad. So it all gives us possibility to grow. And of course, if we have projects, sometimes when you do pitching, you listen feedback, you understand which is good, which is bad, and maybe during this communication you find some fields for communicate or maybe co-produce with each other. So in this case, of course, it's very important to have these contacts and to have this friendship between people, because for communication, for creation, first of all, you need this friendship, this sympathy. When you want to meet this person, discuss with him, so on, and of course to create together. Because of course our countries, they have many common things, and you can find many topics which are important for both countries. And I think maybe this one is a very good way for developing these communications.
Any other ideas?
I will say about sharing stories. It's very important to share some inspiration between each other and some unique stories. Because, for example, when I talk about Art House Gori, it was created by empty hands, really. It was just abandoned place, which was built up during collapse of Soviet Union, but it had to be museum, but it never happened. But it was a kind of dirty place, but with a collective of photographers and filmmakers. We just clean it up by ourselves at first. Then we said to government that give it with free, and we will make here gallery and cultural space. At first, no one believed us because it was started 2016. But after 4 years, with a different support, special one was like in European Union, but with a local governmental negotiation, we made this as a creative cluster space, and now local and national and international guests could come and make any creative work what they want. So this kind of inspiration, this can be inspiration for another countries, and especially this region, because each region we have a lot of abandoned places. For example, I was also fascinated when I came here, because I was so much satisfied when I realized that some abandoned station could become kind of place for public speak, and this give us, I can talk about it in my country, in my hometown, that we are not alone, people do this in other places also. So this kind of story exchanges give us more inspiration and more kind of power to continue our work and do more beneficial as much as possible for continue to develop our local community, which will be then exchanged to in a different countries level.
Thank you. Maybe last comment, if anyone
Yeah,
would
the
like to add.
education, actually, the education of our community in our countries, it's important. So we have to educate ourselves to continue to have this opportunity bridge between each other, make this happen in very soon, like in 2 years or something like that. Otherwise, it will be very hard to continue to make things happen, like films or other stuff.
I completely support it, and in the coalition we also have like these 3 main lines. Of course, funding. We fight for more funding for independent cultural sector. It's infrastructures. It's like spaces like this, which could be turned into cultural spaces, or it could be festivals, which or like our program of alternative cultural spaces as an infrastructure which allows people to meet and do things together. But it's also education is what we miss, and it's both cultural professionals education, but also general audiences who are used to go to consume this state culture, which, as I said, is kind of not preventing the war in the region, and they are not aware of other cultural, other forms of art. They don't see it, they don't have access to it, or they are not used to visit those spaces. And this is something we have to find means to overcome this situation, and so that we here among us we also have neighbors who live over there, or some cultural professionals from the city hall joining these discussions and participating in it. So thank you all for sharing your thoughts and participating in this first part of the meeting. We will continue after a short break with the second part of the roundtable, which is dedicated to mobility on national level. So we will speak about Moldova and why it's important to have mobility program within the country. And just in short, we actually launched this year a pilot project for mobility on national level in Moldova. It's called the Cultural Taxi, and we supported Rusanda 20 plus or 19 projects of up to 1 month who did artists who did different projects in different cities, villages in the country, and we will speak about this in the second part of the discussion.
Thank you.
It will be in Romania.
It will be in Romanian, yeah.
And if somebody wants to stay, maybe somebody from CMA will do some reportage translating if you are interested or not.
If not, there is an evening program here, right? Starting at 9.
9:30, it's a concert.
So you are welcome to come back after.
Also, guys, we now can won't take
And we have a break.
small zines which you make about railway station in general. So it's like 30 numbers. I think everybody can take one.
Yeah, thank you. 15 minutes break. 15 minute de pauză.
Oh.